What I'm showing you here today is the TrueTouch RS series. This is our latest series, and this is a 65-inch display. This also comes in a 75-inch and an 86-inch and then a 98-inch, right? So the pricing on these has gotten more and more competitive, and I understand you're probably looking at the 65-inch, but if you would like to price the larger ones as well, it's very competitive. So when the teacher comes in, they say press to start, and this is where we land, and we're on the built-in Android operating system here, so not on Windows right now. And I'll walk you through some of the functions here. Windows or built-in PC, technically that's not built in. That would lead you to a slot that you have over here on the side for an OPS or an onboard computer. That's a great option to have if the panel is going to be mobile. And we have that onboard computer available in several configurations. That's, I think, a great convenience. So be sure to get pricing on that if that's something that you're interested in. We've got wireless casting embedded in the panel. Newline Cast is a partnership with DisplayNote. So the teacher would simply download DisplayNote onto their PC or their Chromebook or whatever their device is. It's completely agnostic. There are no subscription charges here. And I'll demonstrate the casting here in a moment. We'll come back to it. You also have a browser, which does what you think a browser does. But the performance of the Android operating system has improved such that you can actually play video content. But I'll be honest with you, what I train teachers to do in training is, this is probably not where I'm going to buffer video. If I really am interested in buffering video, I'm going to do that on a connected device. But I can do it in a pinch with a max resolution of 720p. So this is a 4K display. When I've got a 1K or a 4K computer, then I've got much better resolution. So you get a feel here for the quality of the sound. So that's a little bit about the built-in browser. It's there for you in a pinch, is the way I frame it for teachers. The other things that the Android has, File Viewer, which allows me to add as many cloud accounts as I want. So my Google Drive is already here. If your teachers use OneDrive, Google Drive?
Use Google.
Yeah, so whatever drive I use, I can add it, and now I can access that content. And when I open my content, since I have maybe Google Slides and Google Docs, since those things don't live in Google Apps here on the Android, they would open within a browser. And what's great about that is now if I do some whiteboarding or some annotating, I can easily upload those to my Google Drive. So here we have the built-in whiteboard, and we've got a highlighter and a pen, and we've got different colors and different thicknesses. And you notice that I'm writing with my finger. That's my preference. You can write with anything. We have technology-free styluses that come with the display, so you can use whatever you like. But the board has touch differentiation. We call it intelligent touch. So I've said this is going to be a thick red marker, but then if I come along with a fine pointed object, it recognizes the difference. So the board knows the difference between this object, and this object. I have 10 points of touch in the Android and 20 points in Windows. So here, if I can actually have 10 people on the screen, 10 people can write at the same time. And then I've got some other functionality built in. I have the ability to do shapes. We're studying isosceles triangles, for example. I have the ability to switch back and forth between my Android desktop and annotate on it, or annotate on anything else, which we'll talk about here. And then I have the ability to move my content around. No fatal errors. There's a back button. And then the board is keeping all of the slides that we've generated, so there's no action to perform. So from here, I have the option to pop a thumb drive into the port, and then I can share to my thumb drive, or as long as the board is connected to the internet, I can share these. If I pick one or pick all of them, I can share these directly to my Google Drive. What I like about the way the Newline Panel does this is you'll see that it's going to take all of my slides and it's going to save them very quickly, depending on my internet connectivity, in a zip file. Some of the other panels I've noticed out there will have a teacher name the file and save it, and you have to do that individually. Not really time effective in between classes. This gives me an easy way to keep a record of what we covered in class or for the day. And I can always, if I don't want to perform that function now, I can always access that content from the gallery. And the gallery is here. So all of my screenshots are stored in my gallery. Now going back to my whiteboard, I have the ability to change backgrounds as well. So if I need some graph paper, for example, we were studying XY coordinates, great. If early education maybe would like some notebook paper, there we go. So not as robust as whiteboarding software that lives on a computer, but a really good whiteboarding option without needing to log into a computer. So that's what's built into the Android screen. Questions, comments about any of that? So far so good? Okay. Anything look hard or complicated? Look pretty easy, right? So these are all things that we cover in the teacher training. Then finally on the built-in Android side, you have some gadgets. And of course the gallery is there. And from here, in my gallery, I can upload my entire gallery, or I can pick a screenshot and upload it to my Google Drive. And off we go. And provided I have a good internet connection, when I go back to the home screen and go to File Viewer and open my Google Drive, those slides will be there. So this gives teachers a quick way to have the board communicate with their Google Drive. And then finally, in gadgets, you've got Office Viewer. So, for example, let's say a teacher is going to be gone on Friday and I'm subbing and I don't have a login for a computer. Teacher leaves me a thumb drive with some lessons. I can pop the thumb drive directly in here or on one of the many ports on the side. And I can open any kind of Office program. So Word, Excel, PowerPoint. I can also open PDFs and JPEG images and just teach class and annotate. So that's a little bit of the built-in functionality. We'll come back here to casting real quick, because I know that's something we were talking about earlier. Again, nothing to subscribe to here. So completely agnostic. I can take my Chromebook, my PC, my Mac, iOS devices, Android devices, and I'm simply going to launch my Display Note app, which is the partnership with Newline. This is Newline Cast. And the other great thing about the cloud-based solution is I don't have to be on the same subnet. So this could be a homebound student, or this could be a guest speaker. So they're going to receive from me the session ID, and they're going to pop that in, put their name in, and then they're going to cast only after the teacher sees them logged in on the screen and gives them permission. I can have up to 4 people connected at one time in the queue. And all my indications are that we're in good shape. Two, 1, 6, 6, 7, 5. But I am not able to connect. So that tells me we probably have some settings issues.
Probably
on your
filter.
network. Yeah. So, but I would see the student or the guest speaker logged in here. I would tap them. They'd say, yes, I'll share, and now they're up and running. So, wireless casting again, no subscription fees. It comes with the panel. It's built in. Teacher just has to download Display Note. So, any questions about any of that? Okay, good. So, typically now in teacher training, once we've covered the built-in Android capabilities, now we would talk about connecting your external devices. So with an HDMI cable, I'm getting picture and sound. The USB cable enables touch. And again, in a non-proprietary environment, this works with a Chromebook, a PC, a Mac, whatever. So once I call up my computer, this is now a Windows environment, only bigger. So the screen now becomes a giant mouse pad. So for example, if I'm in Google Maps, anything that I would do in Google Maps, I can do on the screen, and I have pinch to zoom. So there we are. So that's my 2D world. If I call up satellite mode, that'll give me a good example of a 3D world. So I'll give that a second to load. And if I zoom out, this gives me a 3D object. So I always tell teachers you can go left and right, you can go up and down. Any 3D object, whether it's a human skeleton or some robotics or some math object, you can manipulate this way. So one of the things I cover with teachers is, in a Windows environment, on a touch screen, holding your finger down is a right click. So rather than doing multiple fingers on one hand, I'll have teachers pick a finger on each hand. And then right-clicking gives me the ability to manipulate my settings. I might go down to 100% and make things a little smaller. I might right-click on my taskbar, and I would want to click on Show Touch Keyboard button and pin that to the taskbar. Perhaps I'd want Windows Ink Workspace and make sure that's on my taskbar. So these are all things that we cover in teacher training. If I zoom out far enough on my 3D object here on Google Maps, now I'm in the Eastern Hemisphere where it's dark, and I can go to Europa or any other planet or moon, in this case, where there is some satellite imagery on Google. So we show this in training just to give teachers an idea of what they can do on the touch screen. Another example of something I might log into, I don't know if your teachers use Starfall, right? So early education. And here again, this is where I might get a student up here. If we're studying the letter T, I'd let a student come up.
T.
And actually, let me just fix my sound setting here to make sure we're outputting on the panel. And we will go here. All right.
Tiger. What are you doing in there, Tiger? Whoa, look at his teeth. Whoa.
Now I can annotate over anything, calling up those annotation tools. I've got that little floating menu all the time, which is probably difficult to see from where you are. But that's the idea, is that it's kind of unobtrusive and I can see it when I'm up close. I can now annotate if we're studying the letter T and snapshot it, and now that's stored in my gallery. So I can access these annotation tools anytime. Another example, YouTubing. A lot of teachers will have YouTube videos, so we'll take a look at manipulating video up here on the screen. And so here, just check my video settings. Probably not going to buffer it higher than 1080p due to our speeds, but you can buffer it in 4K. That's when it's nice to have that 4K onboard computer. Just keeping that in mind. So my microphone functions, or my speaker functions, I can access with the remote, or by opening the panel here and manipulating these buttons. And then I can grab this on the screen. Now the speakers are quite loud. So here we are at less than 50% capacity. So you'll hear a difference in the sound now depending on the content. the video and I can annotate. It looks like my resolution is at a low setting. It is. Let's buffer it a little bit higher. Questions, comments, Alex, while we're doing this? Any questions you can think of that a teacher would want to ask at this point?
See, not that I can think of at the
Okay.
moment.
So now we've changed the video settings, much better resolution. And it looks like we're running into some little latency with our internet connectivity here. Again though, I can pause the video at this point and annotate over it, or not pause the video, right? So I can call up the annotation tools, and I can annotate over the video, even while the video is still playing. And then I can snapshot that. A couple of other things I can do. Yeah, it looks like it's a little slow buffering.
We just had a class change, so every time the Chromebooks log in, it
Gotcha.
takes us out.
Gotcha. Now I can black out the screen. It'll keep the sound playing. I can also freeze the screen, and it'll keep the sound playing.
Now, does it stay, like whenever you freeze the screen
Mhm.
and you disconnect, does it stay frozen? Or
No.
does it do like a
Good.
projector and lose it?
Yeah, good question. If I freeze the screen and then I unplug the
Mhm.
HDMI cable, I've taken the signal away from my PC to the display, so you would lose that picture. But if you wanted to, you could quickly do a screenshot and a screen capture of it. So if I'm just about to disconnect and I want to do a screen capture, there you go. Does that help a little bit?
Mhm.
Good, good. Anything else about YouTubing? How does the picture look?
It's pretty clear. Pretty cool.
The speakers are quite strong. We generally don't have teachers wanting to amplify the sound. We typically coach them to start kind of low too, depending on the content. So all the content will be different. We can go up high here for a second so you can see. And we'll leave it there since we're having a little trouble buffering.
I
Good.
just remembered something.
Any other questions about manipulating content on my computer on the display?